Hello, hello everyone. Welcome in. We are here after a phenomenal, monumental, stupendous, extraordinary win tonight over a reeling Nashville, considering what they had to just go through. Apparently Messi stole their soul. Can't play soccer anymore, turns out. So we are here with AJ, who has muted himself, but he will unmute in 1 second.
Yeah, I was wondering how long you were going to go with your superlatives, but yeah, very, very good night for LA United and the Five Stripes, and a great day for the culture as well. They put on a show. Goody Mob also put on a show, and the South has got something to say. I mean, yeah, if there is something for all the Southern teams and whatnot, I think we put a stake into that today there. It was very, very good. But 4-0, yeah, I mean, that's just nasty of a scoreline. It probably flatters us a little bit, honestly. But also, we hit the post a couple times before we actually scored. So it could have been worse for Nashville, but it also could have been maybe like a 4-2. But yeah, I mean, just a really fantastic night, and yeah, a lot of us just go home happy, and we're wondering, you know, it's that Idris Elba meme when he's on the wire. I want you to get the word.
Yeah.
We're back up. So, but before we get into any of all that, make sure you guys hit subscribe. Make sure you guys share this live stream so that you get the word out that we back up. So, but also, yes, speaking of backup, there is our Patreon, and we have been working diligently on it. We will leave a link in the description. We have revamped it, and we can't wait to show it to you guys, all the little new tiers that we have going on. And yeah, there's some exciting things coming forward. And yeah, definitely check that out. We have some things brewing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, we got a bunch of guys in the chat already tonight. I also wanted to point out, I'm wearing the 2018 scarf, the champions, because that's where we're headed. Back to MLS Cup for another championship. That's right. After 2 wins in a row that we strung together, fairly convincing fashion, I think the only trajectory is to the moon. So that's where we're going.
Yeah, that's probably a big overreaction, but I like where your head's at.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. It's completely measured. It has nothing to do with the amount of beer I've drank it. So we're good.
Totally not. But yeah, 6-0 pretty much in terms of the last 2 results, 2 clean sheets against, yeah, some pretty tough sides. I mean, Seattle Sounders, I think on paper look better than they are actually in person. But Nashville, yeah, you know, they have had a really tough few weeks, I would say, because that's yeah, you lose Leagues Cup, that final, in heartbreaking fashion, and then just get walloped. And yeah, I mean, it's we're looking a lot better now, you know, in a lot of senses. The new boys came in. Yeah, I mean, Thiago Almada, 2 assists, a goal. We'll get to his goal in a second, but yeah, that first goal, I mean, yeah, really, really fantastic stuff. I'm actually blanking on who actually scored that first goal for some reason. I have everybody else. Silva.
The thunderclap from Silva.
Yeah, the thunderclap. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's just Almada was standing up the ball all night to the back post, whether he was left.
That price to Ajax just went up a couple 10 million.
It did, right? I mean, 15 mil, that rumor, like that's child's play. That's not even gonna get you in the, you know, the negotiating room for Almada. But yeah, basically hitting that back post from the right, and Shonda Silva with a classy volleyed goal to the bottom right corner. I mean, that was really well taken.
Yeah. And he
Uh,
didn't even look
I
like
mean,
he got like everything he wanted on it too.
no, and I think that's what we were pointing out on Five Takes on the Five Stripes stream was that, yeah, he is a guy that probably is more of like a finesse finisher, but yeah, this was all technique. This was completely like no power. You just use the weight of the ball that was given by Almada, and he just places it
Yeah.
so cleanly, bottom right corner. It's incredible, and yeah, I mean that's up there. I challenge. After we talk about all these goals, which goal is everybody's favorite? I don't think we can actually pick it.
It's tough. It's
These are-
good. It's good to have that problem.
Exactly.
I mean,
like these are very good goals.
yeah, and I mean, Almada's service has been impeccable. I mean,
Yeah.
Talk about like how Ray Hudson describes Lionel Messi's service. He goes, what does he say? He says
Magisterial.
yeah, but he says dropping a pint into a shot glass across the bar. Like, I mean that,
Ooh.
Almada was doing that tonight. We were doing a little bit of Messi magic on our own tonight.
I mean, yeah, Messi scored tonight, first game in the league. Okay, great for him. But
I heard
Almada,
it was a tap in. Who cares?
I know, like Almada, he had a goal and 2 assists, and he hit the post. I mean, he could have had more. Like it was a fantastic night for our little Argentine. But yeah, and that second goal, oof. I mean, really great combination play. One counter. Yakumakis looks like he's alone and he's trying to figure out who does he have for options. Okay, well he finds a cross. Who knew that Yakumakis could find a cross like that actually? And then Shanda Silva, I mean that through ball. It was a surprise almost probably for Thiago Almada a little bit. Like, he didn't realize it was probably coming, but yeah, I mean he anticipated it. And then that outside of the boot, just, world class. Just an incredible finish. Holy shit. Like, that, man, I don't even know. Like, all the superlatives you used earlier, that all applies to that goal. But, yeah, and then what was funny is Yakumaki's trying to recreate that later on, and unfortunately not
a little
able
chip.
to. But,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, Yakumakis had his own, like, the fact that he made himself big, he made himself angry, he made himself an imposing threat that Nashville's defense was all up on him the whole game. It kind of reminded me of when the other teams that would play against, when Joseph was our striker, they would just put 3 guys on top of him at all times because they were so afraid of him. And what this did for us, unlike times in the past where Joseph would be swamped and he was on an island, we actually have ulterior goal-scoring threats now. And what did that do?
Yes.
That opened up a lot of other options for us, for the other guys to operate and to do some really great stuff. So, like, Yakumakis, didn't get a goal, but, like, his presence alone, just like a great white shark in the middle of that box there, just made everyone have to play differently. They have to get off their game, allowing other guys to operate on the periphery and just really tear Nashville apart. So that was great. I really appreciated. I mean, we'll get into it, but like there weren't too many performances, Mosquera, that I really didn't like tonight. But for the most part, everything was pretty good.
Right. And I think this is also of note that Walker Zimmerman, their DP, did not play tonight.
Yes,
so
that was apparent.
Definitely in the box. I mean, he is someone that definitely takes up space in the box and definitely I would say a best 11 type of defender in MLS. So, yeah, the fact that he wasn't in tonight definitely affected how they could play, and you could see that they had to triple team a little bit Yakumakis, and that absolutely opened up the game for everybody else.
Yeah, I was saying to myself, I was saying to myself and to the chat that we were in Discord together with, I'm surprised because Walker's not in here that we haven't scored on a Harry yet. And what happens? Like on cue, Miles Robinson comes soaring in.
Indeed, exactly, and that's the beauty of it is Miles Robinson. Without Walker Zimmerman in the box, I mean, he gets his first headed goal. And but yeah, we have our first guest in Joe.
I was going to
Yes.
Sorry, I popped in. I was like, I might have been too soon. That's my bad. Figured you guys were mid-10.
You're good.
No,
You're all good.
right.
You're all good.
Welcome, happiest Joe, to the stream tonight. First time coming on. Let me set your name on here so you're not Grego from last time.
That's all right. I know Grego's a good guy too. Grego and I are. Oh,
Yeah, so
Love it.
tell us about your appreciation of tonight's game.
I mean, I know you and I had talked originally, Mike, about how I was going to be worried about being awake right now, but now I'm going to figure out how I'm going to sleep because
Right.
I was just like, that was so much. I remember looking at the clock at the match, and it was like 66 minutes, and I'm like, I feel like an entire game's worth of action has already happened. Like, what is going on? It was insane, just non-stop the entire match, how much action was going on.
Yeah, there was actually like a lull where Nashville, man, weren't even really trying to play. Actually, they were just they had the ball, but they weren't really trying to push it. And yeah, like other than that, I mean, we just kept pushing the button, and yeah, that button was goals. But yeah, what was your favorite goal? Because there's a pick of the bunch. There's a lot of good goals here, but
I mean, for me, given how hard they were trying to get Saba his goal and just that interaction between him and Almada, like the purity of that play was just like, for me, just like, even though we didn't need the goal, just seeing those two combine after just 2 days of training, I can't even tell you how excited I am. If that's the level they're going, I mean, I'm not going to expect that high of a level, but if that's anywhere close to average, that's just phenomenal just between those two guys.
right, because yeah, we haven't even gotten that goal yet. In terms of like that play, great combination play, a little 1-2 off a wall in the box. You know, Saba being that wall, and then he finds that great positioning right there where the goalkeeper should be, and back heels it in. It's very cheeky, very smart, and it's Saba time. It's Saba time.
And that's what it was. It was just interesting to see like how the only thing he could have done, he did. Like his mind worked that quickly that he was just like, oh, back heel. That's all I got. So let's put it in and see what happens.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, that's a great shout. I mean, Shonda Silva's also really, really good. The world-class chip from Almada. I mean, yeah. The fact that you chose so quickly shows you're decisive. I like that. But
it could also be recency bias because that was the last one we saw.
Yeah.
So it's just the one freshest on my mind because I literally, until you mentioned Silva's goal, I was like, oh my god, that would have been such a better choice in regards to just like same first goal for the club, but the way he struck that ball out of the air, like right when it connected with the ground, is phenomenal.
yeah, and if we're thinking about like first goals for any of our players from history, I mean, these are at least they definitely hit the top 5. I can't think of other ones that are actually better, actually. But
the one that I default to always is the like faux clearance from Tyrone Mears that went into the goal, and you're just like, but no, from the sense of like the meaningful impact and kind of like the trajectory of their hopeful like life with the club, like those two goals from Silva and Saba are just like awesome.
I mean, I've been saying this, like they needed to do this, like not so much Saba because he still has time to kind of work his way into the team and to facilitate him scoring a goal. Shonde really wanted to score in his first debut. He really wanted to score. You could tell he was, man, did he really want to do it, and he just couldn't.
He even tried that like Rabona at the goal. Like, you're just like, what? Like,
so he really wanted to score. He wasn't able to, and the frustration set in, and I was worried that it might be like a hangover kind of effect into this game, might kind of get into his head. It did not. He came out all guns blazing and blasted one in. And I mean, dude, that's got to be a panacea in terms of any kind of doubt, any kind of lack of confidence whatsoever. He's just gonna probably, hopefully, continue, because like what do they say, the cure to not scoring is scoring, and then once you do, the floodgates open. So hopefully that's the case with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see like the hunger of these players that we signed for sure, and seeing like how they're elevating the level of play for everybody else, being kind of a reignition of, oh my God, we're here to play soccer together. We love it for the love of the game, as far as for the city and whatnot. But it's just to see that new influx of talent coming through,
It's
and
night
just
and
kind of
day.
getting everybody else, just getting everybody like rekindled. Like, all right, we got a second half of the season to play. Well, last third of the season to play now, but just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically this type of game. We said on our podcast, and also I think on Five Takes on the Five Stripes, is that they needed to have at the Benz put in a performance and get a result in front of the home fans, because it's been a while since Atlanta United has done that very convincingly anyway, because there have been a lot of casuals that have kind of veered away a little bit. But tonight, they opened up the entire Benz. Apparently 67,000 showed up on a Saturday night where they could have been doing other things. But they showed up. And LA United, they showed out. And, do you feel like going into this match, did they have to do that for you?
I mean, in a way, yeah, because like you said, it kind of got not necessarily stale, but in regards to as you progress in the season, like you could see that it was no longer the fresh new thing in the city. So it was kind of that lull that you hit at the end of last season, beginning of this season, where you're just like, something, because of our play and everything else was kind of where we were, kind of mid-table, low, missing playoffs, just kind of what needs to change and get fresher to get people in the door, to get your casual fans, to maybe get them to fall in love with the game, and in turn create kind of that whole spiral and that revolving door of getting more people in. Because those first 4 or 5 seasons, like, people still hadn't seen Atlanta United play, and you would just be like, hey, come look at this environment, look at this atmosphere, and you had them hooked. And then they would come back because it was just the same, and it was just kind of how things have panned out. It's very refreshing with this transfer window, seeing that the people they brought in want to play, and they just enjoy playing the game. So I think that in itself, in regards to even the club, and on top of the club, the supporters, you're getting more people in there that the fans kind of feed off of, is just like the other players in the club do.
All right, tough question for you, Joe. Real quick, I'm gonna throw one at you. Is this a result of Carlos Bocanegra's signings, or is this more Garf's hand, do you think?
I mean, I feel like Garth has narrowed the scope of what Carlos is trying to do. And maybe
he's not allowed to sign more Jurgen Dams or Miguel, or what's his name? Manuel Castros. He's not allowed to do that anymore, right? Is that what I heard?
I mean, I think there's a double check and a redundancy now in place where you're like, oh my God, this player would be phenomenal. They've got talent, but I think Garth is more of the check too, like the double check on, well, how would they fit in the culture? Yeah. Like, how would they fit in? Would they, given their past, would they kind of come into the club well and kind of get integrated well with what we have, versus it felt so scattershot in the past where it was more of, oh my God, there's these phenomenal players available, let's sign them, and then see whoever the manager is and see how they can try to use them, because they have this raw skill and raw talent.
Part of it is just simply interesting to just say, Garf, one of Garf's stipulations, is he over 25? He is? Okay.
that maturity level.
I mean, that the experience, the maturity level, the veteran, the aspects to it, and the fact that your head doesn't go down after you concede a goal early and you make a dumb mistake, and you can actually continue playing the game for 90 minutes. That's pretty big too.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes in. Oh, sorry, AJ.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go on. What do you think?
I was just gonna say, I mean, I feel like that's too the kind of the not necessarily the spine, but the core that you have in this team now are players like that in that age group, that even if you get younger talent like the young DPs coming in, have a better understanding of like what the club is about, how people can be brought in and kind of fill in those gaps. And so they make that transition easier where you're getting somebody like back with Miles and like George Campbell making a mistake, and you've got Miles and a lot of the other defenders that are like, dude, it happens. Lift your head up, let's go, kind of things. Or any kind of young players, and you have those mentor players now, like Parkey used to be in the early years.
Literally anyone from like 2018, I feel like you could just plug and play in most MLS teams, and they can be like a veteran. And like I like to call them pylon players. Like you kind of like you put them. I like to say around up the spine of the team. I mean, they can be other places, but specifically the spine of the team. You kind of have them like they give power to everyone else, like a pylon does. And it's like if you don't have that guy there, all of a sudden these players lose power, and they're not anywhere as good as they normally could be or on paper that they say they are. Like players like Arujo or something, like, you know, they're on paper really good, but all of a sudden they're getting in their head, they're getting emotional, they're getting frustrated, they don't play as well. If you got like a pylon player next to him, you got that guy picking him up going, no, don't worry about it, goldfish mode, let's just keep playing. And then all of a sudden Arujo scores like a brace and he forgets all that, and it's great. But that didn't happen the last couple of years. We have players like that now, and I think that's super important.
I'm interested to see, like, when we play Philly in this season with this new group and this focus on like reinstalling a better spine, how they'll react, or like New York Red Bulls or somebody who takes a more physical approach.
Yeah.
And see how these guys kind of bounce off of that as well.
See, my point to this too is that exactly, you know, piggybacking on what you're just saying, is that once they get hit, they get punched in the mouth, because they haven't yet. Like, how do they respond? Because, you know, part of me is like, yeah, everyone can be great. Everyone can be really good. But once you get punched in the mouth, it's like, well, how do you respond? So hopefully these guys can just kind of shrug those types of things off, because it's going to happen eventually. I mean, maybe when it happens when Messi plays you, but we need to be able to do that. In the past, like outside of 2018, 2019 too, we really didn't have a team that could bounce back. When they got punched, they stayed down.
Well,
and that was
AJ, though, how do you feel about this season? Earlier this season, it kind of felt that way, though, because we were making all these results at like the end of like the death. So we had like all this super stressful matches at the end of the season, and it wasn't until the end of the match we pulled some kind of points out of it.
Yeah, we were doing that constantly. Well, I'll get to your question. Let's not forget that Michael, with his 5-head type of metaphors here. I mean, bravo, Michael. But basically, yes, absolutely, Joe. Yeah, it's like that. Those early results, we were pulling things out of our ass.
Yeah, that was last-minute merchants of high-quality players. Thiago, Jacob, just like pulling stuff
magic
out of his butt.
moments. Yeah. Exactly, because we have talented players versus a team that's cohesive, a team that's actually playing together, a team that is playing hero ball. I mean, that's really what it was early on in the season. And yeah, I mean, now this is looking like, I mean, the combination play tonight, like this was like from a couple of weeks of practice.
I know.
Like that's encouraging, very encouraging. And because we have a lot of different elements that we haven't had in the past. We have, you know, the target forward. We have the poaching type of forward that can also link up play. And these wingers that we just signed, they look very competent. They look like they not only are good at the ball, but they press pretty decently so far, at least what we've seen. And the finishes, cheeky finishes. I mean, very, very high-level finishes that I don't think are like our wingers of any of the past few years could have put those type of finishes. I mean, Arujo doesn't get in the box like that.
Yeah.
Like Saba to put a back heel in. Shauna Silva. I mean, that type of finesse, that type of like technical ability to hit it one time into the bottom corner. I can't think of a winger that we've had that could do that.
Like, you know, it's a little
this
crazy.
Might be an overreaction.
So like just to like kind of like analyze things from a slightly different perspective for a second. Eric Lopez did something similar, and when he first kind of like a bit of a back heel, bit of a not a back, but it's like kind of a back tap. Still went in, and it was very good. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at the class. This guy's going to be big." However, what I think is interesting is the fact that when I looked at Eric Lopez and that was happening, I was like, "That was awesome, and this could be really cool," but I wasn't 100% sold for whatever reason. When I'm watching Saba play and the rest of the team play, it seems like it's working, and I feel more confident about what I'm seeing.
I think that's what it might be, though, is just that maturity level. We talked about Garth wanting people early 25 kind of thing, where Eric did it in the sense that he was like, all right, I just got to put a foot on it, and it was just the first thing he thought of, where it almost looked like when Silva did it, or not Silva, when Saba did it, that he was like, I know this is my only option, so let me try to put it in. Like, it just seemed like there was a different kind of process.
Exactly, because he's been there like 10 times already versus Eric, who's, not so much.
Yeah. And it's also this: they are both players that have been in Europe, and that type of where they've had some level of success to a degree in Europe, and so coming here, and they're not at an age where they're probably looking to maybe return to Europe immediately.
Right.
I think there's this kind of innate thing that there's something we can grow with.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we absolutely need, of course. Now, obviously, Eric Lopez was not on the same team as when we had Thiago Almada. So Thiago Almada as well changes a lot of things, makes everyone look a lot better too. So we should not be remiss that with a weapon like him.
You know who Thiago Almada doesn't make look good? Mascara. We can talk about him in a second. I'm going to read comments from the chat. And then feel free for both of you to dive into anything I say from the chat, and then we will talk about maybe Mascara or something like that. So Fernandino Ronaldo says, "What's up, my fellow AT aliens?" Lightning says, "Let's go, my favorite Tampa Bay Lightning fan," which is hard for me to say because I'm a Flyers fan. Strong says, he just gives a winky emoji. Elliot Beaven says, "Hello." Lightning says, "We actually look like a well-constructed team. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm here for the ride." Jack Dickens says, "Do I get a 404 kit from the UK? I don't know what kind of strings you need to pull to get, probably just buying from the MLS store, but it's probably expensive."
I'm doing that for a friend. I have a friend in the UK who asked me to purchase a kit for him and ship it to him. So I'm like, you could have a connection with the US and have it to you.
Exactly. And I was about to say the exact same thing, because like all these, like, so I have a bunch of jerseys. I probably like over 10 jerseys, international jerseys. I get them from my friends who are traveling abroad, and they're just like, "Hey, I'm in Lisbon. Do you want to like one of the Portuguese jerseys or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I save on all the shipping and all that kind of stuff. So pro tip, if you like to collect kits, go for that. Jack Dickens also says, "Tristan has transformed the midfield. Great addition by the looks of things. Completely agree." Elliot says, "Saba scored." He did score. Elliot also says, "This is a statement win for Atlanta." I agree. Jack Dickens says, "My favorite goal was the fourth one." Elliot Beaven says, "Hey, Joe." He wanted to say hi to you.
Well, we're old friends. We go through other podcasts as well.
Yeah, he's all Elliot's wonderful. I see him like on everything, because I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to Landy's night stuff too. So I'm all over the place, and I see him just on everything. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Elliot? How you doing?" Georgia on tap says, we can get it out of our end. Yes, we can get it out, and I will get through that sentence if it kills me. Strong says, Georgia on tap, bingo. ATL Rain 2021 Roblox, that's an interesting name, says, "Xande Silva on the goal almost did it similar to Kylian Mbappe." Big plaudits from ATL Rain there.
Yeah, that's similar, but not quite as. But yes, still very, very good.
Strong says, "I'm off, peeps. Too sleepy. Take care. Good night, Strong. Love having you. You're always appreciated." Elliot also says the first goal was utter class. That's a Xande goal, absolutely. And Georgia says, "Do y'all think maybe the domination, parentheses, not the win, but just taking over, was that they were spent from their intergame?" Basically saying, like, was Nashville just kind of tanked? Is that the reason why we did so well?
Well, I think part of it too, you're missing Walker Zimmerman, so it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
see if he was in there, how that would have changed the middle. Speaking of the spine.
Yeah, but Joe, that only takes one goal away. That's the Miles Robinson goal. That's it.
But you also have him on the offensive side.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true. Yeah,
Exactly.
he's obviously. I'm kidding, of course. He's a great defender, but I thought I was telling AJ earlier. I was like, dude, why haven't we scored a header yet? And then Miles goes up, and boom, there it is.
I think that first goal could have been contested a little bit, maybe with Walker Zimmerman too. But yeah, the comment about Muyumba, he has solidified a lot of things. Tonight he did have a couple moments that were a little sloppy.
Oh,
one that
let's talk
could have
about
led to Mukhtar. I mean, he just embarrassed himself in front of goal. Really,
miss that?
He was going for goal of the week. He was trying to get the goal of the week.
Golden boot leader gives us a free pass.
Right. I mean, he absolutely should have buried that, like probably near post, but instead he goes for the top right corner, and I mean he barely misses it, but still, it's like, yo, you're in the box.
That's not like him.
And
That's not like him at all. So AJ apparently walked into an area with very little reception.
Yeah.
they could have been a different game state. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would have absolutely affected the game state for sure.
Did I disappear for a second? Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
you're good. We can hear you. You're
You're
good.
back. You wandered back into reception.
Oh, cool, great. Yeah, I basically have been walking in a circle, so I don't see how anything could have happened. But I'm on their Wi-Fi too.
Avoid the one part of that circle that was bad.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so it's kind of wild. Yeah, that there were a lot of either posts or near misses too, because Nashville had some other chances. But
what's happening?
I mean, like
what's
I said,
happening? What?
Yeah.
First Seattle.
it is.
Rui Diaz, like a competent striker, and now Mukhtar. Like, why are these class strikers just choking against us? I'm here for it, but what is happening?
You better knock on some wood. We're not bringing that up because we're okay with it.
Right.
We need all
Yeah, but it's Miles is back.
I mean, are they all shaking in their booties and they just like completely collapse when they see him?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Yeah,
It's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. No, it's probably inexplicable. It's probably just a bit of luck on our side, which we have needed. I just went over there and knocked on this tree over here just for the luck that we want to continue, actually. But for the I took one for the team here. There were a bunch of ants as well that I had to.
Oh, the martyr! The martyr is out there tonight.
The martyrdom, I know, right? But I mean, it is that. It's like early on, yeah. If Mukhtar scored, it would have been a different game state. I mean, but like, I think that begs the question a little bit. Have we gotten lucky at times?
Yeah.
Like, are these score lines flattering us? 2-0, 4-0. Should it have been different?
Yeah, I think like in another alternative universe, like we talked about, we could have like that. The Seattle game could have gone another way. However, we were clinical with our headers, so I think that game could have ended like 2-1, 2-2, still fairly favorable for us. And this game, I mean, even if you give Mukhtar or even if Zimmerman was in, he blocks 2 goals, Mukhtar scores 1. I think we still win by 1 then. That was my optimistic prediction for this game, which was that Saba would, be the difference maker. Like I was saying that Almada was going to score, Gigi was going to score, and then like it was basically up to Silva and Saba to really be the difference makers, and they were. If Nashville showed up to play, which they didn't, so.
But I think as well, I think plaudits go to the team tonight as well. The whole club, really, for putting on a show. At halftime, I don't know if they showed this on TV or not, but Goody Mob, good old ATLians from Georgia, put on a show at halftime. And
Georgia!
It was like exactly. It's like a surprise thing, but I loved it. It was like every bit of something that's yeah, it's like harkening to yesteryear of what they did to pretty much, I think, showcase Atlanta.
Yeah, put Atlanta on the map.
Is,
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And that's like more of this. This was, I think, a banner type of night. When you have, the stars show out, you have the, I think the players get more amped.
Yeah.
I think there was that instance when Ric Flair hit the golden spike, and I tweeted this. I was like, I forget exactly what I said, but basically, like, I was so pumped, and I thought that we were absolutely going to win. Like, we're going to blow out the other team, and I think we did. We can look up whatever the scoreline that was, and I think it was a playoff game or something. But it was, just something that's that type of energy that we want to continue to bring. Like, there have been some dead golden spike hitters, honestly, this year. But like, that's a good marker to energize the crowd too. And tonight with Monica, that was like some Atlanta royalty. So just all around good cultural night too. So really plaudits to Atlanta United for that.
Yeah, I'm just looking that up right now. So that was against New England. So that was against New England, and we won that game to move us on to the semifinals of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Where we then, I guess, we went up against, this is 2019, where we went up against Toronto and lost, I guess.
Yeah, that was that debate with that large gap between that first round bye for the first seed and whether it was a good or bad thing, because that's what New England had to fight.
Exactly. But so final thoughts, Joe, on this match.
I'm going to leave you guys with one as I get off. Looking back on this season, do you think getting kicked out of Leagues Cup was the best thing that possibly could have happened?
No. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's this. It's a nuanced answer because obviously the two score lines have been really, really good, and it allowed us to have more time to gel together in a sense. But optics-wise, I think a lot of fans are still bitter. These results have mitigated that for sure, and that's a good thing. But crashing out that early in that competition, I mean, yes, it was to Messi, and but for me anyway, personally, at the Benz, seeing more Cruz Azul fans and feeling outnumbered, I felt embarrassed. But they reversed that tonight a little bit with that energy, with that vibe, and I think more nights like these will make me feel a lot better about it. So they have a little ways to go, but I think the Leagues Cup crash out, I don't think it's quite a blessing in disguise, but it is something that we can build on. We can basically say, hey, okay, yeah, that absolutely sucked. But these new players, this new era of Pineda ball, I think there's a lot of upside, and so hopefully we can bank on that potential.
Think so too.
That's all right. Once we win MLS Cup, everyone forgets about Leagues Cup. So
that's right. The real cup. The real cup. That's what matters.
Yeah. All right, guys. It was great talking with you. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Yeah. You're welcome anytime you want, bud. Come on.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, man.
All right. So that was the happiest of Joes. And hopefully you can catch him again when he comes on another time, because he was an absolute delight. So we have another debut tonight. This is, I forget, he hasn't told me what he wants to go by, so it's going to be Dr. Magnifico until I can hear otherwise.
All right.
Anyway,
that's a pretty great name.
He has his own lore too. If you look at it in Discord, if you click on it, it's got his own lore.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if even if that wasn't my real name, you probably should just go by it. Just change your real name, man.
That's right, and get a PhD, absolutely. All right, so let me change his name on here. All right, and now we are welcoming Dr. Magnifico. If that's what you want to be hailed as, feel free to tell me it's something else.
Yeah, sure. My name is Jordan, but
Jordan,
Dr. Zebulon
welcome.
J. Ferdinand Magnifico.
Yeah, I was just telling him how your online persona has its own lore and everything if you double click on the Discord profile.
Oh yeah, no, there's like a whole bio for Dr. Magnifico on a website. Yeah, it gets pretty in depth. Like intergalactic hijinks.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I feel like some of the Marvel writers, the cinematic continuity guys, had some hand in that as well.
Yeah, well, there's no continuity. That's kind of the point of it. Also, there's a multiverse.
Oh, nice. There you go. There's
right,
a multiverse. And is this the most favorable of universes when it comes to Atlanta United? Can you tell us that?
I mean, what are we on? Like the 5th or 6th different iteration of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
7th, yeah.
Like this season, even.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, like I was thinking about this earlier. So, the players that have come in, and I'm an Atlanta United fan. I'm a founder member, all that stuff, but I don't follow world soccer that much, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I follow this team and not the entire world. And it was difficult during this season of trades and of recruiting and of all of the things that have been going on to know who the hell was coming in. Who are these guys? I mean, there's like a level of almost that opening scene of Major League when they're like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah.
Right? But I've realized that after watching this game tonight, there's a level of when in 2017, I didn't know who the hell those guys were either.
Right.
We didn't know. This is such a brand new team at this point that it's almost like halfway through this season, we just really and truly hit a reset button. And this is an entirely new team to learn. And hopefully it'll pan out.
Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully you learned his name at this point. Yorgos Yakimakis.
Yeah, Yorgos Yakimakis is a senior player on this team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely refreshing. Tonight was definitely a marker in just a different vibe for sure. But yeah, what was in terms of I guess a summation of the overall thought of this match? Your feeling going into this match and then your feeling after it.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling going into it was, I mean, not numb, because we had the great Seattle game, and I'm never going to be numb towards this team, but it was definitely all unknowns. There was no level of I have high expectations. I didn't know what to expect coming into this, and so for it to go so resoundingly well was something that was, I mean, cautiously optimistic, right? We're Atlanta sports fans. We know how to temper our expectations on these things. But I mean, that was legit. That was not every phase of the game was perfect, but it was a total domination when the final scoreline comes up. The fact that Henny Mukhtar just completely P.D. Martinez that ball over the net, that was a whole other level of what just happened.
Yeah, the soccer gods are smiling.
Exactly. It's almost like we slipped into a different dimension, and things are favorable for us now instead of crashing out of League's Cup and being embarrassed by Lionel Messi. But it's maybe there's goodwill that we finally tapped into. But
Is it the kit?
Is
it the kit? Is the kit? Did the kit do it? So we have to wear this kit nonstop the rest of the season.
Right. I mean, we're wearing it 4 more times, apparently. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually Goody Mob. Yeah,
There needs to be a concert at halftime every time. I can't believe that. I mean, I'm not able to come to the game today, so the time that I'm just like, my wife who's still at home, I'm traveling, and she's like, I'm not going to go to the game without you. I'll just sell the tickets or whatever. And that's the time that there were Goody Mob, and apparently like bucket hats were being given away.
Yep.
There were. I'm not trying to brag, but it is.
How many did you get for me?
They look good. They look good. You can only grab one, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, he says that now, I bet.
No, I know, but it was a good night, and hopefully they do more of these. Hopefully, because that's what it was too. The buzz of the early season of 2017, the inaugural season anyway. They gave away booklets. They gave away a bunch of freebies. Like, I think they realized they probably need to do a little bit more of this, like the goodwill, to bring more of the casual fans into it, because that's been missing.
It's a soft restart a bit.
It really, I mean, like Atlanta United quickly became the hottest ticket in town. In 2017, it was absolutely, soccer will never work in the South, and then all of a sudden this team comes along and it's the hottest ticket in town, and that has continued. And now we find ourselves this situation where, I mean, earlier this year, I was genuinely wondering whether I was going to renew the tickets just because of the general trajectory. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about a team culture, right? I mean, like, look, my granddad played and coached for the University of California. I know how to lose. My teams have been losing my whole life.
Same with me, buddy.
So like, there's a level of I'm not in it. I mean, I'm in it for the wins, but there's a level of like losing doesn't hurt me, but having a lame team hurts me.
Yeah.
And somehow this season started off just on it started off great for the first couple weeks, but then it just got very, very lame. And tonight, the Sounders game started it. Tonight was a like re-energizing of like, okay, this is a whole new team. We really did hit the restart button. I mean, we got to give credit where credit is due. I don't know who does what in the front office, but these moves seem to have worked.
So is League Two like the new place to get players? Is that what I'm hearing?
Hopefully, we're not shopping in only one market. I think that's the lesson is that
we're shopping in two markets.
Shopping.
League Two
exactly.
and Turkey.
And Turkey, but and that's what it is. It's like, you're not going to find everything at Target, Like, you do need to maybe go to Walmart, maybe go to
what's Walmart
Kroger,
in this analogy?
Maybe go to, I guess Walmart's Turkey. But
damn, I'm going to tell Sabi you told me.
Yeah, I know. I might have to. You might have to, because it's, I mean, let's be real. It's like, not everyone's going to go to Turkey for, top-level talent, but I don't think that's what we're looking for in MLS. Let's just be real. But I think what we're looking for are competent players that match the system that we want to play and can perform for us in this league. That's the important part. Like, we don't need. I mean, okay, yeah. I was about to say like Lionel Messi. Yeah, okay. Everyone.
You found the bad reception area again.
And so, like, what is it?
AJ, you found the bad reception area again?
It takes, a front office that can be competent. Did I? Oh, it's...
You did. Yeah. Yeah, do your whole last thought again once you find the good reception area. All right,
I think you're saying that Messi sucks. I think
he's on record saying that. I think that's what it was. All right, you found the good reception. Oh, okay. So say your whole spiel again.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. So basically, obviously, every team is not going to be able to get Lionel Messi, but the crux of it is that yes, Atlanta United, they need to find competent players that can play in this league and that can perform for us. And obviously that has been a difficulty in the past few years. And, the front office, so far in terms of a little bit of, the returns. We're seeing some. Jury's still out, but it's a great game in terms of the results. Still some sloppy giveaways, right? But hopefully we can mitigate all that and put this marker down as something that's actually something that brings us forward rather than, oh yeah, remember when we actually we beat a team 4-0? Because that's kind of, we had that
triggering me a little bit.
Really.
With
I know. We had that good
Charlotte.
result earlier in the season too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, remember when Araujo got here, and when Araujo showed up, it was like the missing piece had shown up, right? I mean, not this season, but when he first got here, he came in the summer, right? And all of a sudden, things started to click, but that was still trying to chase the ghosts of 2018.
Yeah,
and he was a hit where the PD Martinez's had been a miss.
Yeah.
But when that team, the rest of that team got shaken loose, when Joseph left, when all of that went down, all of a sudden Araujo is an anchor. Yeah. And I'm still not exactly sure how that happened. It has to be mental because he doesn't go from having skill to having none.
Yep, that's my theory. Yep.
It's mental for him, it's mental for the fans, it's mental for everybody. And so what I think when we're talking about sloppy play, I mean, the middle part of this season was just a Swiss cheese midfield. I mean, the midfield did not exist. And it's not that there are bad players that are there necessarily, but the guys, this whole new, just complete and total reboot recast that we've got, they've played together for a couple weeks? And what you're seeing is guys running over the top of each other. I mean, that was in the early part of this game tonight. Why aren't people taking shots? Because they're tripping over one another. Yeah. There's so many Atlanta jerseys everywhere, which is great, versus just standing around and waiting for something to happen.
I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion about this. This is a thought that just occurred to me. So I'm hearing a voice in the back of my head. It's from Bill Gluckman. And it's saying that, he said that there's been times when we've had players who lost trust with other players. And so he wouldn't pass to them anymore. Like Barco wouldn't pass to them anymore. And to me, it seems like that comes from a place of other players, every time they get the ball from a pass from a player like Barco or something, they fluff it, they mess it up, they don't do anything with it, it goes out, blah, 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 blah. And then, so what does that happen? What happens from that is that player like Barco becomes reticent to start doing progressive passes to anyone besides maybe the other DPs or just, trying to win it all himself. I'm interested to see, I think that at this point in time, when you have new players all coming in like we have right now, everyone is trying new stuff. They're all trying, they're experimenting, and it's working for the most part. And I'd be interested to see, though, if, because, there's a couple of times where the passes broke down with Tristan tonight. I'm interested to see, if over time confidence or trust starts to wane a bit because, you can't hit every pass. You can't link up every time. Yes, it's going well now, but maybe things start to break down a bit. Players lose trust. They stop going to that outlet. They go to a different outlet. And that's not as good. It's the safe one. It's just Brooks Lennon down the right every time. Or it's something like that. It's a safe option. And they stop doing that dynamic midfield awesomeness that really breaks teams down like crazy. And, we kind of revert a bit. I don't know what, Bill kind of suggested it's because players lose confidence in some of the other players on the team. So they stop passing, relying, or whatever on them. I'm hoping that we just have players right now on the team that even if things don't go well, they're still okay, I'm still going to try for you. I'm still going to make that pass. I'm still going to have you assume you're going to make that run. We're still going to play like we're fresh. We just met each other and we're going to go because it's working. So I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility.
That's one of the advantages of having just blown it all up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in having just blown it all up, now these new guys get to earn new chemistry.
Yeah.
And there's not really as many preconceived notions. I mean, Thiago Almada, for as great as he is, he does play hero ball a lot. And you saw that a couple times tonight too. You know, he's not at Barco levels of trying to dribble it like one touch too many.
Yeah.
You know, Almada doesn't have that issue necessarily, but he will absolutely keep the ball until he's damn well ready to pass it. And it serves him well most of the time.
Yeah.
But with new guys, there's going to be new chemistry that has to develop. And hopefully it develops in a positive way. Like, or else the opposite is, you know, exactly the scenario you just described.
Yeah.
Where,
we've seen it before with talented players. So,
yeah,
you know,
these guys will come in. And soccer is such a chemistry game. I mean, of all of the team sports that are out there, this is one where you absolutely can't just pass to Julio Jones every time.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, you have to move the ball around. It's the very nature of the game. And so that, again, Barco was a prime example of a guy who just always had these amazing runs and then wouldn't pass to the open guy because he was continuing his amazing run. And what happens? He gets stolen. Like that's a giveaway. So yeah, when I saw Mayumba tripped over some folks, Silva was tripping up. Like I think Mayumba and Silva came together early on in the game, or maybe it was Mayumba and Mosquera. I can't remember. But there was a moment where
probably wasn't
these
Mosquera.
Guys who just started to play with one another were totally in each other's business. And that's the kind of thing that needs to get... I mean, the defense, you know, passing across the face of the goal instead of just clearing it out is another issue for that needs to be solved. But I think that you'll see the link-up play get a lot better as these guys have more opportunities to play together.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. The that line of confrontation when it's that high, because that's what it was. I think there was some frustration from the fans, at least when I was in the stadium. I was feeling it where other fans, especially when we were trying to pass it out from the back.
Were you the one frustrated? Are you talking about yourself?
It wasn't me, but I could feel that others were growing kind of this like, like, why don't we just go long here? Because that line of confrontation is so high. And we're kind of playing into their hands when it was kind of clear at times, maybe we were not good enough on the ball to play out of it. And ultimately, either, yes, we gave it right to them and they didn't punish us, or we got to kick it right out. I think there was a chance where Guzan just had to pretty much, I think he tried to kick it to Wiley, and I think it went over set. But as well, you know, Jordan, when you were saying, when they were stepping over each other, there was a moment when Muyumba, Wiley, and Sean Da Silva were all on the left wing, and they weren't really moving. And it was a little bit of just like, okay, and then, like...
Yeah,
so somebody's
there's
gonna make a
moment that just happens down there, right? And
right.
But you know, you mentioned like trying not to just send it down to Brooks Lennon on the right and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I never want to see a cross from the corner again. I mean, like that whole idea of just I'm going to dribble it down all the way to the corner kick spot and then just send it up and hope somebody's there has really defined the Atlanta United offense since
2020,
probably
2020. Yeah.
2020.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that's just been so much of the offensive game is just send it down to the sideline.
Listen, we had
And
Adam
then
John there. He'll get
Yeah.
it. He'll get it. He's tall.
Yeah. Now at least we have tall guys on the other side to get it.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I think really killed the team because of how we started, because of the offensive identity that Atlanta United had built. And so rebuilding the team to not only have new players with new ideas and new identities, but also getting away from that very formulaic offense.
It's predictable. And to your point, it's so refreshing to see cutbacks. You know? Like cutbacks have been missing from our quiver of arrows for a while, and they've come back with a vengeance, and it's been great to see it because, and I've said this many times on stream, and I'll say it again because it bears repeating. Man, I get so anxious because like when we're playing other teams, especially international teams like Mexican teams, they cut back like crazy. And it gives me so much anxiety because I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, all right, I see the ball. It's, it's by our, they're all the way down and we got our defense. They're kind of blocking him out. It's okay. All of a sudden he gets it. He gets the cutback and then it gets to the defenders. And then it kind of just goes for like a little bit and you're like, what's going to happen? And then a other player from the other team comes from out of frame. Because that's where the run that they started came from out of frame, and they come into frame. And once they get into frame, they make contact with the ball and blast it. And it, like, goes in every time. And I'm like, because every time, I have, like, PTSD now. When I see the ball, like, have that cutback, and it comes rolling out, I'm like, someone's going to run in. Someone's going to run and blast it. It's over. It's already over. And know what? We're doing it. We're doing it to them now.
Right. It's one of the best strategies in football. It honestly is. And like the team that I follow in one football,
who's that
Arsenal,
team?
like
that one?
Yeah, who's that team? Oh yeah, that one. That one that I talk about all the time. But Arteta, he almost prioritizes that cutback a lot of times. Where it's so important because it's this. A lot of players ball watch. And when they ball watch, that third man run, that player that goes into space, that finds that space, usually at the penalty spot, it's the best ability to be able to have a shot. Like, that area is the best area to take a shot because you have the goal all in front of you. You can just pick your spot, essentially. And, yeah, that's the beauty of it, for sure. On Barco and all that, harkening back, there's the thought that, so I was watching Saba early on before he took the shot with his left. It wasn't great, but he was making some runs that weren't, he wasn't being released with the ball. He wasn't given the ball, and I was noticing, he didn't sulk. He didn't, he continued to make those runs. He continued to try to.
He's not running around like
team.
this, like.
Yeah, I mean, we can't see you, obviously, but I assumed.
Listen, I can see me, and the chat can see me. That's what's important.
Yeah. But I seen what you did, and yes. He wasn't, pouting. He wasn't holding his head in his hands. Like, he didn't just start strolling. Now it's early days, but still, I mean, it's something that's obviously he started to get more involved. He started to be more central. He started to pick spaces in the box and had some combination play with Almada. I think that's that encouraging stuff that hopefully we continue.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into a couple chat comments.
I think, Jordan, you got something you want to say?
Oh, no. I was just going to agree with everybody.
All right, great. I love when everyone agrees with me. Okay, so now we're going to get into some chat comments. And, so guys, feel free. Please comment now. We'll get them all in, and we'll read them. And we will answer your hot, burning questions that you're sending our way. Brian Baird says, getting hot on the run to the playoffs. Perfect timing. Completely agree. Nick Dunbar says, we back! Say we ain't. I agree. Connor says, hello. Nick Dunbar says, AJ, what's the vibe out there? It was probably a lot bumpier earlier tonight when he was fresh out there, but now probably a lot of people have left. I'll let AJ answer that before I move on.
Yeah, no, it's dead right now, obviously, because it's there's nobody here.
Talking about the vibe, before.
Yeah. Before, it was a good vibe, man. It was, there were a lot of people in the stadium that, it was cheery. It wasn't this tense, like, all right, yeah, well, it's another day out here, and, we're supporting our city, supporting our club, but the players are kind of letting us down.
Right.
Coaching staff, the front office, all that. Because that's it's something that I was thinking about it this week. Somebody was saying something where you might not like all your coworkers, right? And so it's also one of these things like, yeah, you might not love every player that's on the team. You want them all to do well because it's your team. It's the company that you work for. It's whatever. But like, I think that's how you build a connection back. I think is where the fans can feel like the players have bought in and the players get along, and that there is this culture that's fun, and that the people that are working together actually like each other.
Yeah, it's almost as if like there's some interviews with some of the players where they're like having a lot of camaraderie and enjoying their own presence, and it's like they are friends and stuff. And maybe in the future on our channel you might see something like that. Just saying. And also patreon.com/LANUnitedFanTV.
Love it. Shameless plug, but yeah, go on with that mailbag.
Yeah. Elliot Bevan says Atlanta should have scored more in this game. Yeah, I mean they could have. The opportunities were there. Connor says, yeah, when Mukhtar missed, the game should have been 3-1 by that point. Yeah. Connor also says Brad is just scaring the attackers. Nick says, why? Because he's big, he's bald, and he's a motherfucking wall. Jack Dickens says, what did you guys feel about Abram tonight? So, by the way, it's Abram. It's not Abraham, it's Abram. Jack, just so you know.
Oh, just a typo, but yeah, right. Autocorrect happens a lot. Guzan, though, I don't know if they showed the TIFO tonight, but the TIFO was Brad Guzan. Yeah, and it was very understated, unfortunately, but yeah, it was pretty much. I'll describe what it looked like. It was basically Brad Guzan in a silhouette. Well, maybe not silhouette, but it was like the shape of Brad Guzan, and then kind of a gradient down where his legs were a brick wall. Interesting, and really, I think apropos in the sense that he got a clean sheet tonight. So yes, and he had a really great kick save.
It's a really great save too. Like not just a clean sheet, but a legit performance.
Yes. Yeah, very, very good performance. And yeah, his legs were the brick wall.
Or was like the silhouette of him like standing behind like the brick wall that just kind of went up to his shins?
No. So it was like basically like the shape of him. It was like, so yeah, the silhouette of his legs and whatnot were the brick. But on the top, it was like a gradient into his like actual self.
Oh, so I get it. I get it. So it's, I get. I see.
He was morphing into a brick wall.
Yep. He's the thing. Exactly. Yeah, of course. From
yeah, exactly
Fantastic
right.
Four.
Yeah, from Fantastic Four. Yeah, but and so yeah, really interesting that they chose that tonight, and then didn't even show it on the Halo board, nor showed it on
not on the broadcast.
The broadcast. Yeah, so odd, but. Yeah, I mean, shouts out to Brad Guzan. He had a good night. So.
Yep. Brady's the polar bear, Elliot says. Nick says no. I'm not sure what that he's talking about. Definitely not. He says again. Elliot says, in this sport, you need a luck. I agree with you, Elliot. Jack says, they showed the halftime performance on Apple TV. It looked great. I probably went to go do something at halftime, so I didn't see it. Nick says, honestly, the whole night was a vibe. This is absolute entertainment of the highest order. That's really high compliments from you, Nick. I appreciate that. It's pretty cool. Lou, Theos, I'm not sure I saw you before. Thank you for stopping by. You said ATL. Yes, agree. Hard agree. Violent agree with that. Connor says long-term leaving Leagues Cup early is for the best. However, short-term, it's an ouch in the gut. Yes, it's a ouch in the gut, but... I mean, like, here's the thing. Those players were coming in regardless. And I think that, it's not like Saba, Silva, and Miamba had, like, 3 weeks to train with the team. So, by exclusively. They didn't, right? They were kind of added piecemeal over time. It's not as if, like, that the Leagues Cup gap was needed or something like that to combine everyone. I think that if we just went further into the tournament, that you know,
They
these
would've
guys
joined.
would be added on, along the way, and we would have just kind of hopefully picked up wins provided we played well.
Right. Because on that thought of like this being a Leagues Cup crashing out a blessing in disguise, it's not like we crashed out and this is why we bought these players. Like,
Right. Yeah.
we bought these players before then, and they couldn't join up until then. And yeah, it's I think it was plain as day that like we didn't look ready for that tournament. I think
No.
like there was.
Well,
I think
who's
just
ready against
real...
Messi's debut? I mean, that's
True.
no one's gonna be ready against that.
I think if you look at the performance from Nashville against Inter Miami, one could argue that they were the better team in the final. They lost the final in penalties, but they were, they were at least performance-wise better.
What was that, Jordan?
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, when the guy's saying that the blessing in disguise of crashing out, it is. I don't think that the implication there is that, like, so we went out and bought these guys, but it did give the team a little more time to gel and practice on our home turf, right? So
yeah, but when in the past has that been
in,
like a boon for us? I feel like that in and of itself to me doesn't turn the corner, doesn't turn the knob at all. It's just that I think that we have. I mean, like, just think about it. Like, Tristan Miyamoto comes onto the pitch, we're instantly like, I'm gonna give some arbitrary percentage to this, like 25% better, and then you have Silva come on, and we're like another 15% better. Saba comes on, we're like another like 5% better. It's just all of a sudden these things are adding up, and we're like a completely changed team at this point. And these have zero, like almost zero training, zero practice, zero chemistry gelling. And everyone's talking about how, like, once they get training, once they get chemistry and gelled, they'll be really good. It's like, they're fucking fantastic already. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I mean, to me, it's like, so anyway, to that point, I don't think it's that the Leagues Cup crashing out was a boon whatsoever. I think that if we just were in it longer, we could just kind of scrounge the points, somehow get above Cruz Azul, we could, all of a sudden, we're getting those guys. Silva's in. Later on, I mean, obviously Saba just came too late, but like, Silva's in and Tristan just can continue to do his thing. And, things go a little bit different against Cruz Azul. We could have won that game. I don't know why. You have Juanjo Parata taking a penalty, but here we are. You could have had Silva taking a penalty. Like, that already, like, makes things different. So, I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's a really good point. I think there is also this, the book does come around on players. So there is that. Like, chemistry, all that type of stuff is really good. But once the league figures you out a little bit too, because I think that's what it is. Like, these players are new. They don't really, they haven't been scouted. They haven't been, they don't have tendencies really per se. I doubt Nashville really had a book on Saba. I think, probably they had a little bit of some video on Sean Da Silva, but in terms of how they would play in this team, there probably wasn't very much. So, as the team plays more games together, there will be more video of them playing together. So, teams will be able to prepare for them a little bit more. So there is that, but I think larger part, the newness as well, like, played in our hand, and it's great.
That's true.
And
that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, this team will be beaten at some point, and then there will be a formula for how to beat it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right.
Agree. So let me finish off these comments. We have a couple more. Irving Macias, I don't know how to pronounce that, was saying, I was there, what a game. Yeah, I'm very envious of you. Wish I could have been there. Connor Watson says, punch. Not sure what that means, so I'm just going to leave it there. YoPro says, if Miles leaves to PSV this winter, will Parata replace him? in the short term, perhaps, but I
Yep.
certainly hope not in terms of the long term, because they
Yeah,
are
we
very different
definitely have
players
that.
in quality.
Yeah.
So let me finish these off again. Like I said, Connor says, no, talking to YoPro's comment about the Miles comment, no, we would most likely sign another CB. Yeah, I agree. Connor also says, yeah, I think we saw Almada start doing that in the games before Leagues Cup. I'm trying to remember what he's talking about in reference. We probably said something. Start doing that against for Leagues Cup. I'm not sure. He also says, but I think the more senior players coming in, I think Almada and others will actually have confidence. Oh, he's talking about the confidence conversation earlier. Yeah, I think, Almada was probably like, I have to do hero ball because I don't have confidence in a lot of the other players. Now he has confidence. He's passing off. He's laying it off to a lot of runners, and he's trusting a lot of people, and that's huge because that's opening up a lot of different avenues. And I mean, like we talked about earlier, Yako is just clogging up so much space, just like a gravity well, like a black hole, and everyone just kind of has to play around him, and that's great because now it gives so much more leeway to all of our guys. Jack Dickens says, I don't want to say they're on the same level, but this trio of Saba, Silva, and GG reminds me of Miggy, Tito, and Joseph in terms of an exciting front three. I'm going to stop there for a second and let you guys marinate on that.
So that goes back to what I started with, of like, this is a new team, and I didn't know who Joseph, Miggy, and Tito were in 2017. So I can buy it, but we also have some dramatic irony on how that pairing turned out, and those are some big shoes to fill.
Yes.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's this. It's like the aspect of how they played together, at least, right? Obviously, they're all completely different players. Miggy with his pace and work rate and ability on the ball for this league, that he was definitely MVP type player. Jose Martinez, his ability to score from pretty much anywhere and with both feet in his head, definitely different. And then Tito, with his game-breaking pace and just very, very directness. I see obviously maybe what they're trying to get at, and that's the excitement of these players. There is ability from all of them. Yorgos Yakimakis, obviously more of a target type of forward with an ability to be able to score from anywhere as well, with both feet and his head, and a work rate for days, and his grit. I think that's a difference that we haven't seen, like leading the line, and I think that's huge. Sean Da Silva, at least from the early returns, looks like a player that's fairly direct, always trying to make something happen, and has a pretty decent eye for goal. Saba, just from what we've seen and highlights of him, he looks like a player that he's creative on the ball. He looks like a player that's is willing to make those runs, and I think you pair that with Thiago Almada, who, he will find you and he will put a good quality ball in, so that you can have a really good chance at scoring, or at least a final ball. Like, that's what he needs. Like, the quality runs, and the quality balls for himself too. I mean, this front four can be very dangerous, and I think that's what it is. It's like Sean Da Silva, he probably is a DP on some other teams because he's brought in on loan. He's a guy that's maybe isn't a starter on a Premier League team, but he was part of the squad. He is and was good enough to be on a Premier League side. Like, there is, that thing where, if he's a DP in this league, can he stick with us? That's a question. I mean, how long?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we basically only have him for 8 more games. And
what rating would you guys give
playoffs.
Saba this game? Like, out of 10?
I would give. I mean, he got a goal, so obviously, he gets a higher out of
So
10.
10.
I would probably. Yeah, no, I would say like I'd say like it's an 8.5. I mean, like obviously
he
the
came in
minute.
so late too
Yeah.
it's difficult to grade
Yes,
him
it is. It is.
on that. Like, well, so with Silva, one of the things that impressed me was Johnny Silva. So he came in and he started doing all these ball tricks. I think he had 3 or 4 turns in the first half alone, and it was really impressive, and it made people look really stupid when he does it. And you're right that he's not going to beat somebody with pace like the original Holy Trinity in Atlanta did.
Right.
They were just the fastest kids alive.
Right.
And our team right now is not building that kind of identity, and that's totally okay.
Correct.
But when he was doing all of that, when he was making defenders look dumb, what I was really impressed with is sometimes you see guys who get when a junior player gets called up, when we have guys, homegrowns that come up from the twos or whatever, they'll try to impress, and it's not quite hero ball, but there's a level of like, I got the call up and I'm going to show them what I'm going to do.
It's my opportunity.
And I remember, this is my shot, and they go full Hamilton. They're not going to throw it away. But when he was
going
doing
for Eminem, but yeah, that's the other way.
But then, when you get a seasoned professional like Johnny Silva in there, he's doing the same thing, but he's not doing it with a show-off mentality. He's not coming in to tell everybody how good he is. He just is good. And he just has that in his kit bag, and he's just going to do it, and it's going to catch everybody off guard because Nashville hasn't played against this guy before. They haven't seen this from an Atlanta winger. And there was that newness and that freshness, but also that confidence that he had. That I feel like it went across the entire team.
Yeah.
Where positional soccer was not really a thing. People were in the right spots, but the right people being in those spots, I don't know. Why was Brooks Lennon playing center forward the entire game? I'm not sure.
Total football, that's why.
That's great.
But
Yeah.
it worked. I just don't know if that was a by design or if it was a like, well, shit, somebody's always going to be over there on the right, so I'm just going to find somewhere to be helpful. But it worked.
Yeah. I think it's, to answer your question, it is, I think it's by design. There is probably some instruction for Brooks Lennon to play a little bit more inverted because Mosquera, he's more of a natural winger on the right. He's not going to be a goal-scoring type of winger, so, he's going to hug that touchline. I think you saw both wingers hug the touchline, and both fullbacks pretty much play a little bit more inverted. The three-man backline pretty much was Caleb Wiley, Luis Abram, and then Miles Robinson, where Brooks Lennon was pretty much in midfield a little bit more.
Yeah.
Playing in that kind of, if you split it into 4 columns, he was in that right middle column.
Yeah.
And that's where we needed him.
Very advanced in that right middle column.
Yeah.
I mean, he stayed in the attacking half the whole time.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it, because I think we knew that Nashville was probably going to play a little bit more defensively, especially on the road. We know they're that type of, they're that cup team.
They're stingy
team.
team.
I keep saying, they're that team that, they're going to try to hit you on the counter, because they left Hani Mukhtar up by himself, every corner, pretty much. And we had to have a couple guys on Hani Mukhtar, because, we know how dangerous he can be, generally anyway, when he's in front of goal. But and so it's just that. It's like that was their main outlet, and beyond that, they didn't look all that dangerous.
Yeah, Serge really kind of didn't impress tonight. I think he did great in Leagues Cup, but this game he did not look like the price tag.
Right. I think we had him covered. I think we knew what kind of runs probably that he was trying to
Robinson
make.
Pocketed him, is what you're saying?
Yeah. He for the most part. There was, I think, one instance where I think he had a chance, but luckily he didn't put it away.
Yeah, he
so
botched
it was
his chances pretty badly. I was very surprised by that.
And so, yeah, Brooks Lennon playing in that pocket on the pitch, that gives us an extra attacker. That essentially gives us the numerical advantage.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic because essentially if we have that 3 and then like maybe it might be Muyumba that stays back and maybe Hosetu that stays back, we have a box in the middle of the pitch to pretty much prevent counters. And then we have 6 more players that are closer to the box that we can play around the box, find different runs. Because I think, yeah, Sean Da Silva was at one point playing more centrally. I think you saw, Saba kind of playing more centrally when he came on a little bit. Yeah, I mean, all sorts of players were popping up in different positions.
Yeah.
That's how you break down a team because, like, you have no idea what to expect of them at any point. They're going to be making runs, and so at that, you as a defender, are you going to follow that player that, if you're playing man-to-man, well, then that drags out your defense. That pulls you out, and, it really asks questions, and that's what we need to do. That's what we haven't been doing.
Yeah.
Like,
great. Because it's too stagnant, you typically, yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's, stagnant, but it's also making sure that there's full field coverage, too. And that's the thing where that kind of like getting everybody practice, getting everybody on the same page is knowing I'm cutting in. Somebody else does have to pick that up, and I know that that's just like defining total football, but it's less in the rigid structures of total football and more just logical. Like, that's just how the world works. Especially if you're doing anything that involves a team, is filling in what's not there. So that's where I was saying, like, I don't know if Pineda has suddenly, like, if he was watching Ted Lasso and just found out what total football is, like most Americans, but or if it was more just like a pragmatic approach. Rather than like a dogmatic approach.
I mean, he definitely didn't have the personnel to implement any kind of total football.
Yeah,
perhaps before this.
The pragmatism of the team tonight, the knowledge that Edwin Mosquera is going to just stay on that right touch. I don't think he cut in. I mean, I'm sure he did at some point, just chasing a ball, but I don't think he had very many, like Johnny Silva was cutting into the middle. Caleb Wiley was cutting into the middle.
I feel like Mosquera had like marching orders to specifically stay in his lane because when he goes out of it, it's a problem.
Yeah, it is a bit. But I think what we noticed, though, I think I noticed him, he was next to Sean Da Silva on the left wing at one point. So there was a little bit of license for him in the final third. And that's what it is. Like, Pep Guardiola is famous for is, if you're a winger on the team, you're hugging the touchline until the final third, where you have the license to get in. And then,
I mean, the guy's on the right side 90% of the time. Yeah, 10% he drifts to the left and does a thing with Silva. It doesn't mean like he has license and he's going to go anywhere or whatever. It's just like one time it made sense to perhaps do it.
Yeah, but I do remember there was one interchange that didn't result in a goal, but it was one of those dangerous opportunities where suddenly Caleb Wiley is on the right. So
I have way more confidence in Wiley doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
But,
and that was a counter. That was a counter where
logjam on the right too. So it just felt like the whole field had an Atlanta jersey on it at some point, and except when you got Hani Mukhtar on a breakaway and he forgets that he's Hani Mukhtar. But
yeah. Jesus Christ! All right, let me bang out a couple more of these comments, and then we can finish off tonight, so we can get AJ home at a respectable hour because it's coming on to 11:30. I don't know if AJ looked at his clock recently.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the refs for a second. Connor said, "I don't know, refs seemed all right to me tonight." One of the cheer wine guy. I don't know if I've seen you before. Thanks for stopping by. He said, "What was the deal with the ref tonight? He seemed to try to make the match all about him." I mean, you always get someone who will probably think that that's the case about pretty much any ref. In this case, honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with this ref. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of him in his games.
I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him either. So it is what it is. But I don't think he made the game like unwatchable or really, made it so one team was just like 100% biased or anything like that. And then he follows up by saying he seemed to be holding the game up a lot, talking to a lot of players, talking to Brad, escorting players out of the match at subs, etc. More than I've seen other refs, a lot of delays. Do you guys have any opinions on that?
I think it's good. He showed he had control of the game instead of allowing players to have control of the game. So I was okay with that.
If you walk a player off, you're like, here's the pace you need to leave the field. Versus
that was hilarious, actually. Yeah, he was like running faster than Caleb Wiley was going to put in a throw in. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's fair. It's like he put him in his place. That's fair. I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
The cards seemed to be reasonable.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a pretty good officiating crew.
Okay. He also said, Uzumaki says ball tricks. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Connor also says Pineda saw
probably Shonda Silva.
Ang ball and inverted Brooks. Connor also says Surge had 2 times where he would have had a free header if the ball to him was better. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. There was a lot of stuff for Nashville that just didn't click. It could be that Surge just needs more time, but I'm tempted to think that they just weren't on their game tonight because Surge was clicking in the Leagues Cup. So, and I'm pressed to think that he's just tired. I don't think so. I don't think tired legs is Nashville's issue this game. I just think that we overperformed a little bit and just kind of shoved it down the throat. And they kind of didn't know how to react. They didn't expect Atlanta to do what they did, I think. Personally speaking, that's what I think about that. So anyway, Tony also says, amazing what your DPs finally do playing together. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting, and we don't even have our third DP like fully installed and ready to go. It's interesting now that we have a right wing quasi DP who's probably going to be bought down. So then we have a right wing who's like DP level, but not really. Whatever. He's the accounting DP in the right wing. We have Yorgos as the DP. We have Thiago's DP, and assuming we don't bring Miles up to the DP level, I don't think we will. That leaves another DP for us to get. Where does that go? I'm saying in the midfield. I've always said in the midfield, from the tops of every building I could shout from, legally speaking. And so I feel like that's where we're going to go with that. Where do you guys think? Be interested to hear what you think about that.
So when you're talking about an accounting DP on this, right? So right now we have the 3 DPs.
Right.
And we'll probably buy Saba down.
Yeah, Labanitse is going to go down.
Next year, we're going to get a 4th DP.
Yes, according to the rumors. Yeah, you're right.
So if that is the case, then do we buy Saba down and have 2 DP slots still? Or do you see a situation where Saba's like, no, fuck it, I want to be a DP and pay me more?
I feel like when Doug says he's coming in as an accounting DP, I feel like I feel like it's already understood, like between the club and him. I don't think he says that unless it's kind of like already understood that that's probably what's going to transpire. And on top of that, next year, obviously, we're going to sign Mbappe, obviously. So that's the 4th DB.
Yeah.
That's also this. It's like Saba, he doesn't really have a say in it per se, and he gets paid the same. There's not really any sort of difference for him. So ultimately, yeah, if we can have 5 DPs
like Miami.
Yeah. So we actually if Thiago leaves next year and we don't raise up Miles, then we actually have 2 slots to play with.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. It's like I think obviously Miles Robinson.
Spot.
Yeah, we could sell him, but yeah, we do have the offer on the table, which he hasn't accepted.
At this point, how is he? Yeah, at this point, why
Right.
would he leave? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, you've already missed preseason in Europe. Like, you're not going to Europe then. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, he could leave mid next season or something, where he could get us a transfer fee or something. But
Yeah,
no, it's
maybe.
gonna be an interesting thing that we do with Miles Robinson because, yeah, I mean, obviously far and away our best defender, and yeah, it's just he's gonna be a big miss. So, but
with that thought, I mean, like, yeah, we wouldn't raise him up if he was the last DP slot. But if there is a fourth DP slot, does that make the idea of making Miles Robinson a designated player more palatable to keep him?
I think if we keep Thiago Almada somehow, that'd be fascinating. That would be fascinating as a thing. Because yeah, then you have this slot. Okay, well, what's the greatest need in the team? If Thiago Almada's sold, well then, yeah, you obviously have to fill that one. And then does that actually fill the gaps that Thiago Almada?
This is the same problem as the Darlington Nagbe problem. We had a DP as Darlington Nagbe, and he wasn't a DP. He left, and we never filled it. If Miles Robinson leaves, we had a DP as center back, and we won't fill it unless we do another DP signing on that level. So we need to keep him for the most, if we can, as a non-DP player. If for whatever reason he's like, I need DP money and we're not willing to do it, or like we are willing to do it, either way, it's like that's gonna hurt the team overall. I think that the resources are better supplied elsewhere. So that, I don't know. It's tough. It's sad, honestly, to me. Now I'm thinking about it. It's just like, it sucks. Like, I don't want that to be the case, but it's like, I feel like we're just going to run to another Darlington Abbey situation if that happens.
And it's this. It's like, okay, basically, because as a DP, it doesn't matter how much you pay them ultimately if it's beyond that certain level, right? And so, like, it's not equitable in this sense of like, okay, say you're paying, say like when Zlatan came in, like pretend he's making 16 mil or whatever, and he's like, would we say he's like 16 times better than a player who's just making 1 million?
Probably
no, but maybe, yeah. But I think that's but that's what you're kind of trying to bank on, is like, okay, well, if you reserve a DP spot and say Miles Robinson makes like 1.5 mil, right? I mean, yes, he is like a very, very good player, but say we could get somebody else that moves that needle, and we can pay somebody that in this league is a top defender $800,000.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're obviously getting into the weeds here, but it is like.
All right, let's finish off these comments. We'll get AJ home. He's tired. He's starting to wane. We can tell. Connor says, yeah, Nashville seemed to get mentally overloaded. Cheers, one guy said, thanks for the coverage, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it, buddy. No problem. Jack Dickens also says, definitely a DP midfielder slot next to Tristan. Thinking about that for a sec, that's amazing. That would be amazing. Like a DP Rosetto. Oh my goodness. Like, they could just choose which side of the pitch they'd want to go to, and they could just break lines. Like, multiple lines. Oh, left, we're breaking 2 lines. Right, breaking 2 lines. There was a time tonight, Tristan took 1 step, made Serge, like, literally, like, he put him on ice skates, and just broke, like, 2 lines, walked 2 steps, made a pass, and all of a sudden we're in the attacking third, and we're in on goal. It was amazing. Like, and then imagining, that's the left side, if Tristan's on that, we have another guy on the right, and all of a sudden he gets that ball goes over there, and all of a sudden he's breaking lines, boom, boom, boom. Like, that's just unlocking any MLS defense over and over and over, and they just don't know how to defend it, because it's like, okay, do we overload one to defend, overload the other? Well, they'll just go to the other one then. They'll just circle around. Like, that, I don't know. Yeah. To me, that's always seemed like the way to go. We haven't done it since, like, Nagbe, really, and I really wish we would go back to it.
Yeah.
We've suddenly become a much more physically imposing team.
Yeah.
Between Yorgos, with guys like Tristan, I mean, this is a large team. We have
Well,
height.
Tristan Miyama is small, but he packs that punch.
He's the exception that proves the rule. Like you put him
sure.
in the lineup next to everybody else.
Yeah, he's like 5'6", maybe. I feel he's
dripping wet, but exactly. He is a player that uses his body very well. He turns very well.
He's
and I think that's
5'5". Holy shit!
Yeah, like he's not a big dude, but it is this someone we haven't spoken about pretty much all game, all stream. Mateus Rossetto. He did put somebody, like, he broke some ankles tonight, but
you know why I don't talk about him.
Yeah. But he larger part still anonymous tonight. And it is this thing is like, yes, like we're talking about, if we have a DP spot and we fill it in his role, holy crap, like, yeah, that's what can catapult this team.
I just hope they see the results of investing in a position like Tristan and go, oh my goodness, wow, we should do more of that. Hopefully.
Midfield, we can connect lines. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right, so 2 more comments. Don't pay defender DP wages. The end, Nick says. He also says, I'm a huge fan of Miles. Tata should have given him more playtime, but do not pay him DP money. I mean, like, yeah, he was very young then, unproven. I get it. But, like, and we also had, like, a decent fucking defense back then. We had a really decent defense.
Tata put him on the bench until he was ready to go, and by the time he was ready to go, Tata was gone. So
fair point, yeah.
Like, that's not Tata's fault. He played the best defense he had.
Yeah, at the time, our CBs were better. They just were. I mean, they won an MLS Cup, so I mean, they just were. You can't argue it.
LGP or Parkhurst? Yeah. Who are you sitting in that?
Franco Escobar.
Right. It was also like, Franco Escobar, Jeff Loretowitz as well played center back, that right center back role, and I mean, I think that's what it had to be.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, especially in those periods, we had to have experience or at least somebody that could cover. And, Parky not being the guy that could, outrun anybody, Franco Escobar was that cover. So.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea that you don't give a center back DP money. You know, I mean, obviously, center back is not the sexiest position on the field, and you can normally find good ones for non-DP money.
Yeah.
So that's why I get that Miles would want to get what is MLS DP money for non-salary capped European leagues.
Yeah.
Totally viable, totally acceptable. But if that is the case, we were talking at the top of this about like that team heart and winning the fans back and getting everybody in there. So if Miles Robinson, he and Brad are the lone holdouts from the olden days at this point, you absolutely have to do something special to fill that spot. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's really you can't expect players to love the team like the fans love the team, right? The players, it's a job for them. So the players are never going to have the kind of loyalty that a dedicated fan base has, because they're going to follow their dreams and their careers. But there is a reciprocal relationship between players and fans. And I think, and that spills over into the fans' reaction to the team. So it's all like there's a whole ecosystem in this. And losing a guy like Miles is going to upset that balance. And there has to be something as special or as unique, not the same thing, but something equivalent thereof.
Yeah.
That fills that void.
Agreed.
And yeah,
very well said.
At the very least, yeah.
Whatever.
The very
absolutely, 100%, man. It's go ahead, man. Yeah, let's keep moving.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it. So I was just gonna thank you, Jordan, for stopping by, and hopefully you can come on another time, because you've been a wonderful delight, a wonderful human being.
Yeah,
and we'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad we were finally able to get this worked out.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
See you later.
Have a
Bye.
great rest of your
Thank
night,
you.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
All right, and now we are going to do our favorite part of the show, and that is the Wheel of Misfortune. Let me get that going. Here we are. So we have our wheel. It's just me and AJ tonight. We're going to see who is the one who has to deal with the problems. It's AJ. I can already see it. Yep, there it is. It's AJ. Boom.
Oh.
All right. Everyone clap in chat
what's the
because
point,
justice has been reached tonight.
Justice.
Yeah. Oop. Yep. Let's get that out of the way. Okay. All right. And then lastly, we need to do the other one, which is this one. And let's see what AJ has to do this week. He already has a special challenge to give you guys next week. That should be fun. Oh, he's got to do the spicy challenge.
Oh,
He's
all
finally
right.
got it. He's finally got it.
There
I'm
we
gonna have
go.
to get the super spice that Patrick used back from him, and then give it to AJ and give him the tablespoon, the shot that Patrick had to do.
Okay. I'll do that, or yeah, any variation. I am game. So,
All right.
yep. Hell yeah.
Sounds good. It'll be a fun time. And then now, lastly, at the very end of the show, we have to reiterate, thank you for everyone being here, hanging out with us. This has been a monumental win, monumental time tonight, and we would be remiss to say, please check out our Patreon. We really just revamped it. It has been silent and quiet for a hot minute, but it's back, and it is better than ever. So please check it out. We'll have links everywhere. We're trying to get things fired up and propelled to the next level. If you want to see this stuff get bigger, better, more interesting, please support us. We really appreciate it. This is all for free. We basically make nothing on this at this point because we really haven't been doing Patreon really whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so
It's also this.
yeah,
so
go for it.
yeah, the people, like, we know those people that have supported us in the past, and definitely, yeah, we aren't remiss that the loyalty that you guys showed. So we will definitely be extending some, kind of not only some things, special things for those people that stuck with us on the Patreon for a long time, but also in other aspects as well. For you people there. So definitely very exciting things ahead, and we'll have it in the description for you to join us on the fun.
Yeah. And yes, we're playing Cincy next on Wednesday. Nick says, thanks, fellas. Peace be with you. Elliot says, make it spicy. Oh, don't worry, Elliot. I will. It's about time he gets comeuppance. Jack says, thank you, guys. Great live. Thank you. I appreciate it. Elliot says, great show. I appreciate you guys. You guys are wonderful. Really happy to be here and doing this for you guys. We're going to be starting the Patreon. Please support us. We can do more of this stuff and do it better, bigger, and we can even make things just more painful for AJ in the future if you really want to do that. We have a perk for that on the Patreon. Just sign up, give him some pain. It's going to be fun. I'll be there with you. It'll be fantastic. All right, so that's it for us. We're going to hop out of here. We're going to send AJ on his merry way, get him to Marta. He's already there. And get on that train, get back home safe, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.
Indeed. So, guys, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I've been AJ. That's been Michael. You are the best community. We love you. We'll see you in the next video. Good night.
See you guys.